Come on. Come on. Come on. Do it. Do it. Hug me. Hug me. He fucking kicked me.
You alright, Jaeger? Yeah, that. Jesus.
No, he's talking about all these accents you're talking about. Are you okay?
What?
You need to go see a Psycho the Rapist.
It was a ball. They ball.
Yeah, you're just above me.
Oh, yeah, I see him. I see him.
Oh my god.
He jumped. He jumped.
He jumped! We've got a jumper!
Oh, nice shot. Oh, what the fuck is he doing? Oh, he's one of the grapplers.
Oh, he's one of
I knocked him!
Oh, nice.
Oh my god!
Oh, he quit.
Oh, I bet he fucking
quit.
did.
He just quit. Did you see that? He didn't want to stick around for that.
Oh my
What a
god, I can't believe I
loser.
actually got him. Oh. Ah, did any of us survive? Damn it. You got lucky and knocked me out at the last second. Are you kidding me? No! How does that work? How does that work? Oh, yes!
We won a tournament?
Woo! Fucking hell. That was amazing. Oh my god.
We won a fucking
Damn.
tournament. Oh my god.
Damn. Look at that shit. Amazing.
Oh my god, hello, hello.
Amazing.
Uh,
Good afternoon, good evening, and to some out there, good morning. Hello, hello, it's me, Cazpyr. Hi. We're back. We got some sad news. I didn't realize that on Tuesday or Wednesday with the sub and that I had received on Wednesday from Lainey that topped me up. Yeah. I gotta put a fucking notification sound on that, otherwise I do not know. Because I can't see it from my side. It's too small, right? When I'm on that other screen, it's like this big. I can't see shit. So. Alright. Let's do it. We'll get into the explanation of what we're doing here. We're not doing it. It's not a heavy hot one today. I gotta find it though. I got all 12 of them in front of me right now. There it is. Okay. Boring. I know. I'm sorry. But that's how the wheel spins. There's nothing I can do about that. Don't like it. I don't know. But I gotta put like some kind of thing on that because that's like the third or fourth time that I have had no clue that I've hit 5, and I just, so I'll figure out how to do that. That'll be my goal this week, to figure out how to put a sound somewhere on the goal. How you doing, Judge? How you doing? So, PC crash is what exactly? Do it.
Pull your band. Your band's tall.
Can you sing us a song in Portuguese, please? Claro, lá vai. Uma música em português de causa e emoção. Em Call of Duty aqui, ou sem precisão. As balas param.
Oh my goodness. Well, Why did I do that? I hate that sound. Do 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 do. Well, you did it. That's on you. All right. 3. It says 3. Trust me. I don't have any chips. I don't have any saltine crackers. I've got nothing. So it's just, you know, it's a 3 though. So it's not too bad. But a spoonful of medicine helps all the troubles go down. It's still horrible. It's still pretty bad. I gotta say. It's still pretty bad. Hey Jack, how you doing? So it's jalapenos, habaneros, the powder and the peppers, vinegar, salt, Xanthan gum. And like that's like my first thing in the morning or afternoon. This is a 3. That's all it is. This is a 3. It's not as it could have been a lot worse. Habanero and jalapeno. You guys want to fight? Okay. By the way, Sky, there is also an actual fight command now. You just gotta go fight, and then you put in someone's name like this. Yes. There's a cooldown. Otherwise, you guys would be fighting every 10 seconds. We all know this. I know this. You know this. Come on now. Have some self-respect. Why can't you all just get along? Jag's out. I'm out. Oh shit. Oh, Sky's out. That leaves only Judge. Oh my goodness. You're already VIP. Oh my god, now we got the fight. The fight everyone's been waiting for.
You win.
CT Judge. Damn, just winning everything. You just gotta keep training this guy. That's how you gotta do it. Undefeatable, right? Right, there you go. You're VIP till February 18th now. 2025 till 12:09 p.m. my time. So it'll let me know, and it removes you automatically. I don't have to do shit. But if you win again, you just keep extending. So now. There's our current list. There's who's in the lead. Right now you've got, well, Joker and Spaz, they no longer get theirs, but it still records them, but that's the leaders. Right now, so you got Violet is in 12 days, he expires and in VIP status. Zane is until March. Spaz is March. Joker is July or June. And Lynette is November 23rd. Yoshi is still, well, I mean, again, mod. So yeah, there you go. Bottom of the board. Yeah. Soon to be like number 1 on the board for that, you know? Crazy. It's still freaking burning a little bit. Okay, let me go. Okay, I gotta go put all the sauces away because I didn't know what I was gonna have to choose. Because I got 5 that are open, and then I got 7 that are not. What do I have in the pocket today? I got the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, where It's the perfect game. It's designed for me. It's designed for me. You know why? Because I can't win. No matter what I do, no matter how I try to play, I cannot win. Perfect game. Perfect game. It's gonna be beautiful. I shouldn't. Oh, good. It was a hand. I didn't touch the hot sauce, but okay. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Yeah, babe. Yeah, babe. Yeah, babe.
And like 10 minutes before Sky ended, I think I fell asleep.
Wow.
And I woke up to you lot attacking me for some reason.
What are you talking about? Bwah, bwah, bwah. DJ.
I'm reloading.
Cuphead. Hi, Cuphead. Get the fuck off me. Oh, great. There's cannons. Dude, really? Really? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look
Okay, hello, I'm back. Hey, Spaz, welcome in.
Get wrecked!
Such an aggressive player when it comes to that game. Okay.
Yo, do a kickflip!
Done! There you go. Fucking rock on, bro. Tubular. Yeah, so we're going to put subtitles on for those that have got me on mute. Trust me, I know. I can tell. But here we go. Have you played the Stanley Parable before? No. What?
You
win. Wins every time. I cannot win that fight at all, period, ever. It just doesn't happen. Also, I don't know why the command is not taking on the cooldown. Ah? Okay. Okay, now the cooldown's on. So please. Oh. May 26, 2047, CT Judge was buried in a mountain of popcorn after accidentally turning on every popcorn machine at the cinema simultaneously. Damn. If you could choose your own nickname, what would it be and why? Chewy.
Meow.
Exactly, Sky. Exactly. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Now, perfect time. What are you talking about? Please enter the current time. Oh, what the fuck? Is this like a... Oh, okay. So you actually do have to go. Okay, that's strange. Someone want to explain that to me? What? Okay, there we go. There. Okay, there. We fixed it. We got it. Node accessibility settings. Because there was no AM PM thing. You had to literally go around the clock. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that way. Let me fix one thing on my stream. just to make it a bit easier. And there we go.
Spaz Odinson asked me, "Is Cazpyr going to need a drool cup today, or will this be a productive stream?" Well, considering the stream title is, "This is fine. I am. Fine, everything's fine." I'd say the odds of needing a drool cup are about as high as Cazpyr's bad aim hitting its target. But hey, maybe today will surprise us with the efficiency of a well-oiled factory. A Fix-It Inc. miracle, if you will.
Nope. It's definitely not. Definitely not. Okay, you are playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Yes, I am. I know she's vicious. She's vicious every day, and I don't know why. We don't want windowed. We don't want borderless. We want full screen. Apply. I love that it reads your title. It learns. They've been learning a lot. Have you watched Squid Game yet? I have not. I got trapped in other shows. Stanley sounds so handsome. Well, could be, probably. Here we go. Click to skip.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What
No
could it
fee.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
Oh, man.
he entered the door on his left.
No, I didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
It truly is.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Painting. It would totally worth it.
But eager to get back to business,
That
Stanley
sounds fun.
took the first open door on his left.
I'm just gonna ignore that one.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Do not lie. If you were lying right now, stop. Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. Oh my god. Ah!
But in his attempt to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leaped from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
It's clipping, bitch.
I didn't even mean to. I was just looking over.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
I was just looking
doors,
over. I
he
didn't mean
entered the
to.
door on his left.
I'll go left this time, all right? I'll go left. Oh.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
How to solve a dispute with a coworker? Let all ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Resent coworkers. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic in the header and throw some bevel on that text. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Number of slides on this slide. Rate at which it's on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increasing grass per slide. Please no more charts. The boss appreciation minute on your boss appreciation minute worksheet. Circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill in triplicate. Return to your boss after depreciation. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee, like what the fuck spelling is that? But they're more clear. Oh my god. Oh. What are you doing for future mitosis? Oh my god.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Usual question, top or bottom? Yeah, you're gonna
Stanley
summon
just
Yoshi now.
couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All
Wait.
because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
Ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bang bang. Do 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 do. Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ting ting walla walla bang bang.
I mean, to be honest, Judge, that's just how Spaz says hi.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
The fuck?
Automatically behind him wherever he went. And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Stanley has never felt dopamine in his life. Oh my, I'm his
Stanley
wife.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
What the fuck?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I
because,
know
yep.
what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Alright, so that took like 15 minutes to lose.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We did good.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, He entered
I'll
the
let you
door
guys
on his
choose.
left.
Which one? Left or right? This chat can decide everything. I'm not left. Okay. You guys have got it. You guys can choose all the directions for this turnaround.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What do we say, chat? Left or right? We know where left takes us. I mean, you could if you want, but I mean, anybody just says up. Okay, left or right, you say up. Okay, right. Okay. Left or right? But it was facing left or right? Left or right? Can't go left.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Descending deeper,
I thought we bailed.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Left or right? Left or right? I'm feeling, you know which one I'm feeling. Yes! Let's go!
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Nah.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
This is a trap.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
The blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layer remains almost identical to the first iteration. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. The set of the two doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable design. Once this room was created, the rest of the room emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. The office 1, 2, and 3. We did it! We beat the game! Let's go! So good. Filing cabinets, let's go. Okay. Yes! Yay? Now the question is, do we go left or do we go right? What do we do? Woo? Left or right? I'm being given two choices again. What do I do? What do I do? Do I go to 431 to 436 or do I go that way? There's no numbers that way, so I can't tell you. Left, okay. Maintenance room. All these rooms we never even saw. 431 to 436. Here we go. The war zone. Ah, there's so many spoilers here. Ah, no. Ah, gonna be it. Ah, no, 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 no. There's so many things we haven't seen or done.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let
Only gonna do it. I had my finger on escape there, but I was like, I'll wait, I'll see.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yes.
When Stanley
I'm
came
doing
to a
it!
set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It's beautiful.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no. No, it's to the right. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oh my.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track.
Fired.
Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is incredible.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
What is going on? Okay.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you, there definitely was a story here before. Do we just... Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again. It's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
For fuck's
Okay,
sake!
it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. Ah.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
What is going on?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Hey!
Congratulations! Good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
It makes you draw the line.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Oh my god. Oh.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
The line. What? Oh my god.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this is very important.
Oh my god.
Story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Yes. Oh. Oh, what the shit?
Wait, go back to the office. No, line. You know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
I'll go this way. I don't know. Oh. Well, we can get the give the. Ah, shit.
How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh my god. Oh. Okay, I'll be right back. Oh dear.
Enemies escorting a package. Don't let them push into the village. Threat neutralized.
Shit!
Retaliation.
Yes! I thought I was done for with that one. He fucking Dodger, fucking Vincenzo, Alberto, they all know me.
Someone that's dying to meet you. Except he won't be the one dying, I don't think.
Oh, damn!
Let's fight him. Fuck yeah, you're dead, you guys. I was expecting.
Yeah, that's fucking what he wanted, man. You guys, he's crying blood. Oh, yeah.
How many grenades? Hold on, here we go.
Oh my god! I'm gonna kill myself. I did it again. I died. I need to get booze one of these days. I keep forgetting. I
got booze for you.
Tank is gone. I got it.
Oh, where's the thing here?
Nobody gonna
You alright, Jaeger? Yeah, that. Jesus.
No, he's talking about all these accents you're talking about. Are you okay?
What?
You need to go see a Psycho the Rapist.
Yeah. It was a ball. They ball.
Yeah, you're just above me.
Oh yeah, I see him.
Oh my god.
He jumped.
He jumped. We've got a jumper.
Oh, nice shot. Oh, what the fuck is he doing? Oh, he's one of the grapplers.
Oh, he's one of
I knocked him!
Oh, nice.
Oh my god!
Oh, he quit.
Oh, I bet he fucking did.
He just quit. Did you see that? He didn't want to stick around for that.
Oh my
What a
god, I can't believe I
loser.
actually got him. Oh. That makes sense. That's disgusting. But that makes sense. What am I looking for? Beware of falling coconuts. Seriously, they're plotting against you. Oof. She just went off the edge. I even have a clip button. God damn it.
Ice Creamery wants to hear them. Come into any Angie's to tell us your dream, and you'll get a dreamsicle absolutely free.
Well.
Here's a free dream.
Look who has decided to show. Are you ready, you little bitch? You ready, bitch? I'm gonna fuck you up, bitch! Alright, let's go.
Next.
Alright, here we go.
That one's quite
As you all can see right now, there is the limon. Toxic waste sour candy will not leave the frame of the screen. This is gonna be delicious after a cayenne.
Gas. There's two towers. What are you saying?
He's gonna bounce you too? No, these are falling away. Or shrinking. Okay, they shrink. Okay. Okay, go. Okay, I don't know if you guys...
That's not how it works.
You don't know what go means. That's okay. Doc is part of the A minor club, right? He's went from a doctor to a pediatrician.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hello. Sorry. My goodness. Okay. A hairball in your future will reveal the secrets of the universe. Bring a lint roller. Introducing the one and only Laney671. Squiggly Puff. Hello, Laney. How are you? I missed the dance. Does it make you happy? Okay. Ah, damn it.
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. All this all sounds.
Really? Really? Shameful.
We simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oh, okay, okay.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Yes?
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Oh, the line's gone. Bugger.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Oh my. The confusion ending. Find the confusion ending schedule. Narrator restarts game. 5th restart. Narrator forgets about previous restarts. So deviate from the maintenance room, ends up in the room. Oh my goodness. I've already restarted. How many times?
Oh, hold up. What's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Everything's reversed.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
The door on the left was the right. Ah, I fucked up. No, I didn't. Wait, what? Ah, they tried to confuse me.
Not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Yes, it did.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with
Oh,
television
shit.
screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Now shall you deal with me, O Prince, and all the powers of hell!
Hey, Yuri. Going on, Sugar Plum.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Oh, After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
Yes!
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
Shit.
I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it on? Look at you, running from button to button, screen to screen, taking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless, to see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Oh my god, this game is insane.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, I'm not going that way this time. We'll go right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Okay.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Is this sending me back to the office now?
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left.
Hey, Yoshi.
The correct ending. The story
What's up,
will have
buddy?
resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late. Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Oh shit, didn't work.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Just want to see.
Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to the doors, he entered the door on his left.
I gotta see. Just one more time. It's not saying anything now. Why?
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would.
Okay.
That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
Yes.
Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered.
We're going through. We're doing it. We're going. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might coming to a staircase.
They blocked everything off.
To his boss's office.
It's no longer says bathroom on it though.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the
This is so dumb. This is amazing.
And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Night Shark 115.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
Oh my God.
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct.
Let's go, Yoshi.
We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something.
Honestly.
Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice.
Sorry, Leroy.
I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
I would eat you. Oh my.
All of his co-workers were...
Is there an actual mic setting? Yeah, I think there was.
Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it?
Oh my god.
Is this Stanley's office?
New content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that
Don't leave me,
the
Spaz.
world of the Stanley Parable,
Hey.
delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I blocked you too many beat pics. Exit the lurk to guard. Let's go. Look at me jump. Look at me jump. They were my hands. Oh my god. That was the new content. Let's go.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Have you seen COD?
New content? Then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes.
Just unblock him, Spaz.
Something else. Let's see it.
Just unblock
I'm ready
him.
for whatever it is.
You're enjoying the new content?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, test achievement, please ignore. What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me, always. What do you say, friend? Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Nah.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. It's a book anyway, so who cares? When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, I didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle. But eager to get back to business,
Thank you for the
Stanley
lurk.
took the first open door on his left.
Bye.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Enjoy work.
Yet there was not a single
I'll be in the office still.
Feeling brave and disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find him. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
This is so fucking amazing.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Now we know that's that way. Or do we?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom and...
Except for that number there. It's broken.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept his own life in someone else's control.
Someone doesn't have a number.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I kind of want to press on again. But we'll go off this time. We'll go off. You know?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh shit! That was actually, yeah, we actually got that was an achievement. Get your first achievement awarded for getting any of the other achievements as your first. And beat the game. Yay! But as we know,
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
always a secret. Always a secret.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
The British Academy of Film and Television Arts awarded this. They just gave themselves a BAFTA. Yoshi leans in close to Jag and whispers, "Are you a quick scope? Because you've caught me off guard." Oh my. Smile because it happened. A trip down memory lane. Ooh, $1. Begin the demo. Oh my. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. Jag Dean flashes a smile at Yoshi and says, "If you were a dictionary, you'd add meaning to my life." Hey. Oh my god, look at all these BAFTA awards they got. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. You goddamn right, LA Times. Goddamn right. Let's go this way. Nothing. Damn.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how
pretty good.
grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
We got to. Ah!
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
The serious room? What the fuck?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Steam
no.
Steam
God,
reviews.
no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! Serious with art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always... What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the
I alone face the
only
darkness.
positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a You see, you were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but... Well, there's more. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me? Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust.
Well, I'm not staying here. Like, skip that.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of End is never the end, is never the end. Is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Oh my god. Oh shit. What's happened? Place is all busted up now. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yoshi skips over to Jag with a big smile saying, "Hey, are you a player? Because I want to swing by your side and have loads of fun." Oh. I got nothing else. I just have to keep pushing the button till the narrator comes back. Oh. I like this place. Leave me out of here now. Emphasis on the buttons fell over. Oh shit. So much time had passed.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Oh my god.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
Oh my god, I don't think I've ever been in tears so much.
For the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Investor Showcase? The end is never the end.
Yes,
Again.
far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions. Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
What happened there? He went full spaz there, you know? The viewer wasn't being any kind of bad thing there. Just in case there's anyone new who doesn't know what I'm talking about. New content is part 2. Is saying all the best new hotness. Boring sections of the chart. Cool red section of the chart. Oh, I made one more teaser. Oh, one, two, sequential mind share. Paradigm shifts energy. Freaking Mortar clown-centric marketing. Color red. Leverage. Holistic value. Oh my god.
Yeah, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Meeting plan, Scrum, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., design pitch, 11:30 break, 11:35, pitch design, 12 o'clock, number 2, chat. 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 notes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 marker, me. Oh my god. Oh. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, fucking tears. Oh, this way to show flow. Oh my god. A new feature. Excuse me, no new features. Oh my god.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button says the name of the player that's playing the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? Of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Is this actually gonna dox me?
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button is Jim. Of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Now, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim. Sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Yes.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
No, fuck.
Jim. What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! We described you. Do it again. Do it again. Jim. It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Oh my god. Oh. Oh.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
The new updated ray trace, more of the same, but in a good way. Sequel to the baby's so gone. Red is the new orange. A whole new office? Oh. Merge. The reassurance bucket? What?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I'm stuck with a fucking bucket. You can't even drop it.
Give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't all. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Stepniece.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Well, someday it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Oh, a free new easy achievement. Can't believe it's that simple. Free achievement. Get yours right now. Pull the lever. Receive your new achievement. No more steps. It just works. Get yours right now.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Oh my
What
god.
else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
That's new. Can you find them?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Yay! You got Stanley. Collect them all. Okay.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game.
Want that
and then
one.
they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Expo Hall, Jump Circle, this map, free achievement, merge, settings world champion, the Stanley Parable bucket, got it, office decorations, epilogue collectibles, infinite hall. Have we done everything? The jump circle. Let's do. Oh, we've already finished this.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle
Yeah.
for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Oh! I wanted to jump again. I wonder if we go back in here, will I get all 6 of them? Or not. But we haven't done the infinite hole yet. We have to. What's up here? That's new. Okay. See, there's always something.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Ah, it only took me here. Right. Time like infinity, distant future, whole like infinity, space like infinity, distant space time, falling, distant past, distant space time. So there's where we're going to be right there, in between time like infinity, distant future, whole like infinity, distant time, and space like infinity. We got the opening, we got the rim, we got the surrounding area, and depth infinite. Whole entrance and okay. I'm ready. I've read the instructions.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Yeah.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
I've got my bucket. I feel pretty good.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
I love my bucket. I think we did yeah.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Oh, a new mug. Let's go.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look. This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Day for capitalism.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the... Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
How do I get to the
He was firmly
collectible?
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
On it.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him. The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
It might be mayhem. It could be.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. all it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Listen to the loud man. Press to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket.
Thank you.
This stupid hunk of metal.
Welcome back. Press M to ignore anyone in your life except for me. I swear I got that same message from Jen earlier.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Excuse me? Excuse me? I've not sent you shit all. Excuse me? Excuse me? I have a witness. Where'd my bucket go? Bucket! Oh, there you are. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press L to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press N to relive this same day with me over and over. Yes.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
It's my bucket. I like my bucket.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket.
No, it's mine.
Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now.
I'm not closing my eyes. Oh, no. What am I doing it to? Oh, I don't know. Leave me and my bucket alone. Oh dear.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
My bucket.
Stanley clutched the
I'll go
bucket
this way.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I did. This is true.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Group said a cabal.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No, he didn't.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
I go Stanley figurine.
So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
I will. I'm doing it.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive
That's
economy,
Stanley.
why
That's Stanley.
at risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up a bucket of comfort and security.
I've already planned a future with the bucket.
Her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man, of course, he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions, and how everything is predetermined, and free will is an illusion, and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought. And she loved her own bucket even tighter. Of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity for everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself. My life kicked ass. And she backflipped.
Need a death counter? There is no deaths. There is no win. There is only contradiction.
All of his co-workers. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
I'm not picking it up.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, I need my bucket. I want my bucket. Give me my bucket.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the
bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
How we can find them. Text. There will be a reward for finding them. This place is to search. Inside the sequel exhibit, stairs, something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue, nearby a fireplace, a private but smelly place for an important person. Trust the completionist instinct. Warehouse access plan. Produce one plank to allow case or to allows what? Use of access what? Access pens. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Ease. See, that doesn't look like an A. Oh my god. Oh.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Wait. Smelly place. Yes!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Perfect. I love the Stanlerines. To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Oh man, I want that magazine. Extreme Bathrooms. Hell yeah. Yes. Yes, Jack.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned.
I tried it. I didn't like it.
Of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes. This is certainly the most
the ping. That was probably the biggest one for me. Yes.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness
Figlies.
that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
I tried it last year when it went on sale. I think back in like March or something, and it was on sale, and I picked it up, and I was like, my ping was like 245 at best. It was not good.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate.
Gotta run at the same time as Scum, I think.
Could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring
so many
that in
war
this
games.
darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley.
Yes.
Everything will be fine.
Plus, you know, you might think the squad might be like the next big
Stanley
thing,
and the bucket
but I got a
walked straight
bucket.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I got a bucket. I got a bucket. Bucket. Bucket.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
You and Joker had an idea? Did it involve a bucket? Because I've got a bucket.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being
So glad I didn't.
monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this.
The people who had it just play the game with jokes,
Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring
doing
him
convoy squads.
everything would be fine.
Can I have a bucket?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things?
I can bring the bucket? I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
Kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
I'm simple. I'm easy. I'm on my bucket. I will enjoy my intimate relationship with the bucket. Thank you for the lurk, Judge.
No! He screamed into
Oh my God, not a fight.
his own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter.
Jag,
His
you
one
won.
friend
Oh
in
my
the
God.
entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Exactly.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this
It's okay.
machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hand, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
I gotta say, I'm actually pretty relaxed right now. No! My bucket and birds! Ah!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Figurine fighters giving me today. Give my bucket.
Spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
It is now.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left.
Yes, it did.
To go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from us.
The fuck is this
They
baby?
want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
I like my
Don't you want
bucket.
another story involving the Adventure Line?
Bucket.
We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Bucket.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Don't make me give up the bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
No.
Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket.
I don't want
and
to.
then pop it into the machine when
Not
you're
going
ready.
to. Don't want to.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation, had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you, all of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
It's my bucket.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone. Not with the bucket around.
Not with the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this no? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I'm getting that, Stanley.
You're getting close now, Stanley.
Yes!
You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anarines.
Sweet.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
The fuck was that all about? What? What?
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all? The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I listened to directions. Somewhere both red and blue. There are many questions. There was no memo from management. Okay. Source of levitation. I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambiences or local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones, also known as directional mic, a microphone which picks up sound from a particular area. Analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of strange noise. Why fuck am I reading this? Data shows that in all likelihood it's coming from a dark area behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks to be reverberance off a porcelain surface. Anyone have any leads on this? Wouldn't you like to know? Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. Red and blue.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Will we though?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Will we though?
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
100%. I'm ready. Whee! Bucket.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself. He sort of
Understood.
kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within. A cavernous void, but through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind that what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? Yes.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Bucket. 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. I'm going to go on a limb here and say there's more than 25 there. A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Inferno bucket, a replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control the bucket. The stress bucket, an analogy: worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance, vulnerability, size, and strength of the bucket. Coping strategy. Stress in the level of stress equals the level of water in the bucket. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. The stress bucket, presented with commentary. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However, our clear grasp of the bucket may be there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitably, is for our own good. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, yes! Give me that bucket! Give me that fucking bucket! Yes! Buckets are never out of reach.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
I'm in.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision of
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled.
Anywhere they went together would be... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this.
I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see?
No buckets past this point.
No buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness.
This is incredibly well done.
About it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything you'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Third time's a charm. Yes!
This is a bucket. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. this a bucket? In fact, this is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game.
Oh, my bucket!
Here we go.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, you bastard. Oh, my bucket.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes,
Where's
I
my
actually feel
bucket?
much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
No bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I gotta find this room.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Fantastic day for
It was
capitalism.
incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be.
I didn't forget my bucket. I lost my bucket.
Her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this.
What is a world when a man doesn't have his bucket?
She would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought.
Won't someone in chat be my bucket?
Ass. And she backflipped all the way to work. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
I don't need you
Perhaps he
anymore.
simply missed a memo. Stanley
Not
came
good
to
that
a
way.
set of two open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
You're my pudding on my bucket.
Eager to
Oh,
get
I
to
need a
business,
bucket.
Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking... Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
I gotta go to that room without a
I don't know
bucket.
how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
No buckets. Aha, see? No buckets.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Not yet, I didn't.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is
Yeah, it
doing
is.
something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we
Aw.
don't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
I like blue.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
No.
Stanley walked through the red door.
But I like blue.
I still don't think we're communicating. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Oh my, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful room. Wish I had my bucket to experience this.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
I'm okay with that.
No, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving. Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. No. No, no, what are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? You'll throw yourself in this platform over and over.
Oh my God. How you doing? How you doing, Angry Hedgehog? Welcome back.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Has it been that long already? My goodness.
This one is yours.
Been a year already. Damn. Time does fly. Oh, let me jump off here.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Welcome to the Stanley Parable. We've been having a good life. Well, I've been having a good life. I don't know about everybody else in chat, but you know.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
Yes.
Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness?
It did.
Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I
Yes.
would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines just one more time.
Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. The Stanley Parable. It's missing. 2013. Can't go through there anymore. Good times. They were, truly.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley. And here was a second Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Turn around.
Let's see, what came next?
Hedgehog. Every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now tonight.
Let's go.
Hedgehog soup. I'm gonna make some hedgehog soup. Yeah.
Damn, even Joe got in on it. What the?
Perfectly in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually
It's
say
crazy.
I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Alright, that's it. Oh my god. Is it because you got made into soup?
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something
If
special.
you woke
It was
up in the middle of the
warehouse.
woods with your
Harry-
pants around your ankles and you're covered in Vaseline, would you tell someone?
Remember, it's so
Would you
clear.
like to go camping?
In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video.
Thank you for the
to
blurbs,
commemorate
guys.
the
Oh my
occasion.
god.
Enjoy.
The fuck is this? No.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Oh my god. I feel like I could probably go down there, but I don't know if I'll die. I'm in the memories right now. Ah, yes. The
And
final one.
Then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other, except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
I still like blue. Son of a bitch. Oh shit.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
What even is this?
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Oh my god. Oh, there's no boss, okay. Oh.
This was our second Figly. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more memories.
We're just gonna go back now?
Oh, yes, the two-door. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
I go this way. Ah, shit.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions, he would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
I turned that computer off. It's the only thing that made sense. Bucket. Turn these computers off. Bucket doesn't need to see computers.
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No, I didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
It was.
How insightful
Beautiful.
the bucket turned out to be.
Beautiful.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Honestly. There's no other way, right? There's no other way.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life,
goodness.
and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
Bucket.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Bucket is life, bucket is love.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and...
Wait, what?
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
No, you're bad news.
He had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single
Reboot the
person
game
there.
entirely.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Shift global market. Monetize free to play.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Darn tootin', this time I don't have a bucket, sir. I don't have the bucket.
Here's the door, just go.
It's like it knows.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I did. This time, no bucket.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I still can't jump. They gave me jump for like one option, and that was it.
Monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Did we do it?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I hear a phone.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
That bucket's bucket's bad news, you know?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for, this is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about
your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 427. Press F on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Please press Q.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Please press Z.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press T to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Please press T to spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
J.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
I didn't see no baby.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense.
None of it does,
And
none
as
of it
Stanley
will.
pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him
Was
float
it though?
amid the
Was it
magical
a dream?
stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Well, I think that's gonna be it. Death number 100. I mean, I think it's a lot more than that, but you know, you might be close. You might be close. You never know. You never know. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna raid out now, because I think we've explored not a lot of it. We only got 3 out of the 11 achievements that are available, but we'll definitely revisit the Stanley Parable. We'll definitely come back 100%. We're gonna raid into Southern Drake. They're playing also a trippy game. Alice Madness Returns. So let me just make sure I got his name right. Yes, I do. I got everything right. There's the raid. It is in channels intended for buy loser. What? If you're subbed to the channel, there's the raid message. If you're unsubbed to the channel, I'll see if I can do this real quick. If he's not been watching the stream, he's gonna have no fucking clue what I'm talking about here. Too many D's. There. Okay. So, to everyone that hung out today, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been a pleasure. Angry Hedgehog, Cup of Hot Joe, thank you so much for the blurbs. It always makes my day when I hear a song about a hedgehog, you know. Yuri, always a pleasure. Sky, thanks for hanging out and lurking for a while. Judge, thank you for redeeming the first and also lurking and hanging out and coming back at an awkward time when I had a bucket and the bucket was mine and you couldn't have the bucket because me and the bucket have developed a special relationship that no one else will ever have. So fuck you. This is my bucket. I love the bucket. But yes, Spaz, I hope work's going well. I also hope it's not going well. It's what the game taught me. But yes, I will see everybody tomorrow for Sunday Fun Day. Yay! I don't know what I'm playing yet, but I'll figure it out. We'll come up with something. You never know. But hey, Sky, Yuri, Joe, thank you.